Alright, so today is the 16th. And we're going to be talking more today about solving equations. And we're going to identify no solution problems, identity problems. Solving equations and no solution / identity problems. Alright, so real basic, again, problems like, I'm going to do some example problems, then I'm giving you some practice. Solving one-step equations. If we got an x plus a 4, and it's equal to negative 12, alright? If the variable's having 4 added to it, then we're going to subtract 4 from each side. Alright, so our x in this case is equal to negative 12 minus 4, that's negative 16. Alright, now, some of you did very well in your quizzes. You got everything right, or you missed one. Others didn't do so well. When you're taking these quizzes and you're solving for variables, if you get an answer, right here I got an answer of negative 16. My next step, if I'm taking a quiz, is to take this negative 16 and plug it back into the original problem where the x is. Alright, so if I plug it back in, I write negative 16 plus 4 is equal to negative 12. And then I type negative 16 plus 4 in the calculator, and when I do, I get negative 12 equals negative 12. Alright, this is when I'm checking my work. This is not a step in the equation. And when I check my work, when I substitute my answer back into the problem for the variable, then the two sides should be equal to each other. And if they are, then my answer is correct. If they aren't equal to each other, my answer was wrong. Okay? If you have no clue as to what you're doing when you're solving for variables and you're taking a multiple choice quiz, just start substituting the answers. Right? And by process of elimination, you'll find the correct answer. If your answer choices here were, maybe A was 8, and B was negative 16, and C was 12, and answer D was positive 16. Well, if you just substitute these answers for the x and never do any math other than check the answers, you'll find the answer, right? You'll find the correct answer. Because if I substitute answer A and I get 8, 8 plus 4 doesn't equal negative 12, does it? No, so it's not A. If I substitute answer C, which is 12, 12 plus 4 does not equal negative 12, so it's not this one. If I substitute answer D, 16 plus 4 is equal to 20. 16 plus 4 doesn't work. So by process of elimination, here's my answer. It's answer B. That's a multiple choice quiz solving for a variable. You can always do that. Okay? So if we're multiplying the variable by something, in this case we got 12b is equal to 18. Alright, when the variable is being multiplied by something, well then we do the opposite of multiplication, which is division. So we're going to divide both sides by 12 here. These 12s cancel out, and this b is equal to 18 over 12. You type it in your calculator, it's going to say 1.5. You're done. And then to check your work, you take 12, and where there's a b, you substitute a 1.5, and you see if it equals 18. And in your calculator, when you type 12 times 1.5, well, you get 18 is equal to 18, and it checks. Clear with that? Very good. Very good. So then you've got some multi-step equations that you're going to solve today. And a couple of examples of those would be, let's say we got a negative 27 plus a 6y, and it's equal to 3 times y minus 3. In this problem, this left side of the equation is ready to go. We're ready to work with it, so I'm going to rewrite it. This right side of the equation, this 3 has to be distributed. So we got a 3 times a y, and then we got a 3 times a negative 3. So when we distribute this 3, we get 3 times y, which is 3y. If this is minus, this is minus. And then 3 times 3 is 9. Alright, we did some problems like this last week. Now we're going to identify the smaller variable, and we're going to do the opposite of the smallest variable. So we got a 6y and a 3y. This is a positive 3y, so we're going to subtract 3y from each side. So we get negative 27 plus 3y equals negative 9. Now we're going to get the variable by itself, so we're going to add 27 to each side. So this 3y is equal to negative 9 plus 27. That's 18. Then we're going to divide by 3. And y is equal to 6. So now you can go back to the original equation and you can substitute it. When you go back to this original equation, if you take negative 27 plus 6 times 6, and you see if it equals 3 times 6 minus 3. 6 times 6 is 36, so this is negative 27 plus 36. And 6 minus 3 is 3 times 3 is 9, right? 9. And negative 27 plus 36, well, that's 9. And 9 equals 9, so this checks. This answer is correct. Alright, now we're going to talk about no solution and identity problems. So today you'll get some equations, and let's take an equation like 11 plus 3x. And actually don't do that. Here's the question. Is the solution always, sometimes, or never true? That's the question. Is the solution always, sometimes, or never true? Well, these last two examples that we did, if you solve an equation and you get finished and you get an answer that y is equal to 6, well, and you check that answer and it works, both sides are equal to each other, then this solution is always true. in that equation, y is always equal to 6. Period. Just like this other equation that we did. This second example, we solved for b. b was equal to 1.5. We checked our answer. It worked. This is always true. In the first example, we solved for x. X was equal to negative 16. We checked it. We substituted it back into the problem. It worked. This solution for this problem is always true. Okay? Now, what you'll see today when you're doing these problems is the solution always, sometimes, or never true. Let's say that we got 11 plus 3x minus 7 is equal to 6x plus 5 minus 3x. The first thing that you have to do in this problem is you have to combine like terms on both sides. So we got an 11. We got this 11 and this negative 7. Alright, so that gives us a 4. 4 plus 3x. And it's equal to, when we combine this 6 and this negative 3x, 6x and negative 3x, we get 3x again. And then we get a plus 5. And if we just follow the process of solving this equation, if we subtract 3x from each side, well, on the left-hand side, these 3x's cancel out, and on the right-hand side, they cancel out. And if we drop down the 4 and the equal sign and the 5, we get 4 equals 5. Does 4 ever equal 5? No. Okay, so this problem, you stop right here, you write no solution. Never true. There's no value for x that will make that equation true. Y'all good with that? Now, back up here, I made a mistake. All these places that we wrote always, we got to erase that. I really apologize. And when you erase that always, I want you to write sometimes. Here we got sometimes. Because remember, the question was, is the equation, is the solution always, sometimes, or never true? Alright, well, these sometimes, alright, the solution is true when b is equal to 1.5. Okay? And this solution is true when x is equal to negative 16. So that's the sometimes. Alright? If your y is equal to 6, then the solution is true sometimes. And that sometimes is when the y is equal to 6. Alright? It's not only sometimes, it's the only time that the solution is true. So when you solve the problem and you get an answer, then that's going to be a sometimes case. When you're solving the equation, or you're trying to solve the equation, and you get to a step in the equation where nothing makes sense, like right here, where 4 is equal to 5. That's 4 is not equal to 5. So this is a no solution problem, and the solution is never true. It's never true because there isn't one. The third example that you'll see is when we get a problem that looks like 6x plus 5 minus 2x is equal to 4 plus 4x plus 1. Now watch what happens here. Same type of problem where we have to combine like terms first. If we combine this 6x and this negative 2x, we get a 4x, and the plus 5 falls down. If we combine this 4 and this 1, we get a 4x plus 5. And you see how the left side is exactly the same as the right side? 4x plus 5 equals 4x plus 5. Plus 5. Well, doesn't 4x plus 5 always equal 4x plus 5? Okay. And if you were to continue to work this problem, if you subtracted 4x from each side, wouldn't we get that 5 is equal to 5? And isn't 5 always equal to 5? Alright. So this is called an identity problem. This equation is called an identity equation. Yes. Fill out a pass. And this is always true. Yes. Alright. If you're working through your problem and it kind of ends up being a normal problem where you get an answer for it, okay? Y equals 2, x equals 1, all right? You finish the problem, you get an answer. You know it's the right answer because you checked it. Well, that is going to be a sometimes answer, all right? If the question is the solution always, sometimes, or never true? If that's what you're asked, and you get a regular answer, then that solution is sometimes true. Confusing, I understand. If you work through your problem and there's no solution to it because your variables cancel out and you get two numbers that don't equal each other, all right, then that solution is never going to be true. If you work through the problem and you get to a step where 4x is equal to 4x or 5 is equal to 5, that's an identity problem because both sides of the equation are identical to each other. All right? So when you get an identity problem, both sides are identical or both sides are the same, well, that solution is going to be always true. Because it doesn't matter what you put in for x. It's always going to work. All right? All right. Any other questions from what we talked about today? Okay. I'm going to put some practice problems up on the board. All right? We're going to go, this is going to be on page 30. It's called page 30. So write this down, please, on a clean piece of paper. Today we're working on page 30. We're going to do problems 10 through 25. 10 through 25, and we're doing the odd. 10 through 25, odd. I'm going to show all your work. Alright, page 30, 10 through 25. We're showing all our work. And yes, they're not going to be in, you don't have a book. I'm getting ready to put them on the wall. And then what I'll do, I've got them scanned. So does everybody have it written down, page 30, 10 through 25? Okay, so this is kind of the new process for you guys. What I'll do next is I will put these problems up on the wall for you. So they are right here. All right, you can take a picture of that, or you can just work off the wall. And then what I'll do is I will upload the notes to our webpage, today's notes to our webpage, and I will upload this file. Well, I don't need to upload this file because at the end of your notes will be what's on the screen right now. So if you're absent during the week, you go to our webpage, you go to the resources tab, and you click on the notes for that day. You'll take the notes, and then the problems that were assigned for that day will be at the end of the notes. Okay? Everybody good with everything that's going on? All right.